Hello, ma'am. I'm Judge Gomez with the Andrews Municipal Court. Can you hear me okay? I can see here where you're trying to connect to audio. I'm not sure why you can't connect to audio. I'm not hearing you. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me now?
I hear you now. Very
Okay,
good.
great. That
I'm
was
Judge Gomez with the Andrews Municipal Court. We're here today to discuss a citation that was filed in the court. The violation date is December the 20th. The charge was disorderly conduct. Do you understand that charge against you?
no, ma'am, I actually don't. I don't know what that means.
Okay, so it is saying here that they are, they wrote the citation because there was a loud music disturbance.
Mm-hmm.
The charge is actually called disorderly conduct.
Okay. That's what I didn't.
We do need a plea from you, though. I need to know if you're wanting to plead guilty, not guilty, or no contest. If you plead guilty or no contest, we can talk about it today. If you decide to plead not guilty, we do have to set it aside for a trial.
Yes, I'll go ahead and plead guilty or no contest. I just want to talk about it.
Okay, so you wish to enter a plea of no contest, is that correct?
Yes, or guilty, whichever I really.
You can only choose one. I can't enter both.
What's the difference between the both of no contest and guilty?
Guilty means, yes, I did it. I'm taking responsibility for it. You're admitting it. No contest is you're not admitting it. You're not saying you're guilty. You're not saying you're not.
Okay.
But you're wanting to continue forward. That one protects your rights civilly.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so how do you wish to plead?
Um, the other one, no contest.
No contest. Okay,
Yes,
very
ma'am.
good. To let you know, this is being recorded, so your
Yes, ma'am.
has been entered by record by the recording of you saying no contest. So we
Okay.
you today. For this type of charge, it doesn't affect your driving record, but it does go on a record, a criminal record. But it is a Class C fine only, which means it'll, right now it's coming in at $207 for the fine and court costs. But you said you wanted to go ahead and tell me what was going on?
Yes, this day in particular, about 30 minutes before he came to my house, the officer, I'm the one who actually called them first. I called them first because me and my roommate, we were having her, kind of like she's pregnant. So we were celebrating her, and her husband or her ex, the person that she's pregnant by, is actually my neighbor. He came to my house, barged in my house, and since they're broken up, he came to my house and barged in my house or ours because we are roommates. We share, um, you know, rent and stuff like that, and he barged in, tried to attack her. I'm the one who called the sheriff. I said, hey, look, this is going on, this has happened. And they said, who is this? I said, I really don't want my name to be out there with him here, because if he finds out, he's my neighbor, he lives across the street from me. I said, he's dangerous. He already barged into my house, the house was locked, and I said, he already tried hurting us, please come now. So he comes, right? And the officer came, and in front of him, the officer said, well, who's the one who called the cops on him? Who's the one who had him arrested? And I said, sir, I said, can we keep that, you know, in front of the guy that he was arresting? He said, he was saying that. And I was telling him, can we have, in other words, like I was telling him that I didn't want him to know that it was me specifically because of my he's dangerous. Like he's a mean guy. So the officer keep telling me, no, you have to tell us, you have to tell me it was you who called, you told me. But because when first the officer first got here, I pulled him aside and I said, hey, I'm the one who called, but I don't want it to be known in front of him, you know what I'm saying? So there was two officers here, and when the other officer, when I told him, I said, hey, I really don't want him to tell, I don't want him I don't want to tell him in front of the guy that I'm the one who called, because he's dangerous and he already barged into my house. What will he do when he knows that I'm the one who took him to jail, got him arrested? So the officer then told the other officer, yes, you're really not supposed to do that. You're supposed to keep it, like kind of like whenever you want to stay anonymous, I told him. So the officer got onto him and said, you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to keep her anonymous because of her, the dangers of it. So he got upset. And I told him, that's the first thing I told the sheriff when I called the sheriff's department, and the dispatch should have it on their call. I specifically told her, I want to be anonymous, because he already barged in and tried to beat us up. I don't want him to know I'm the reason why he's going to jail. So the officer called my name out in front of him and literally told him, you called the cops. You have to tell us this, and that. So the officer kind of made him upset and told him, you're not supposed to do that. It's anonymous. So he got upset. So he came 20 minutes later and he said, well, I'm here because of loud music, this, and that. And I said, there's no loud music. And then that's when he said, well, I'm going to give you a citation. And I said, I'm not going to argue with you. I don't want any problems. Just give me the citation. I'll take it and I'll talk to the judge about it. So then I called the dispatcher again and I said, what's going on? There was no loud music. Why did he write me this ticket for disorderly conduct? He said, well, it doesn't have to be for loud ticket. It was probably because y'all were talking too loud inside y'all's house, or your dog was barking. So that's why he wrote you the ticket. And I said, that's kind of being unfair and malicious. I feel that the officer came back to give me this ticket because, I did tell him, hey, I don't want to be called my name out in front of the guy who's being arrested. And then the other officer, which was I don't know their names, he was telling him too, you're not supposed to do that. He's supposed to be anonymous. You're not supposed to say that in front of the person being arrested, for precautions, you know what I'm saying? For and he is my neighbor, the guy. And sure enough, the next day he bonded out and he came to my house, and I wasn't here, but I seen it on my camera. But that was the whole reason of it. And I feel like he wrote me this ticket and it says disorderly conduct. I called him back and I said, what does this even mean? And I only took the citation only because I told the officer, look, I'm not going to argue with you. I don't want problems. Just write it out. I've had a bad night already, but I feel like he did it to be malicious because of the way that I told him, and the officer told him too. It was, I feel like it wasn't fair for me to call for our protection and him to have said my name out loud. You know what I'm saying? In front of the guy being arrested. I feel like since we kind of called him out on it and the officer did too, he came back to give me a citation for something. I feel like maybe, I don't know, but I feel it was very unfair. And the
Okay,
officer was here too.
let me ask you, did you report this complaint? Did you file a complaint with his superior officer, with the chief of police?
I called the sheriff and I told him about it. I said,
Uh-huh.
I told them about everything. I called the police department 3 times that night. I called them once for the call of when he barged into my house, which he did get arrested. And then I called him again because he came and gave me the citation. I called him another time, which the other officer that did tell him, hey, you're not supposed to do that. She's supposed to be anonymous. That was the whole phone call of, that's why I told him people are going to be scared of doing 911 calls because of the reason that, excuse me.
Listen to my question. Did you call the chief of police, not the sheriff's department?
Not that night. That night I didn't because I didn't know who to call. The only people that I was talking to is the officers and the officer that would come with him and the dispatchers because or not, I don't know if they're dispatchers, but it was the sheriff's department who I spoke to the whole time.
So you have a right to file a complaint against the officer with the chief of police. So that would be the actual police department, not the sheriff's department, okay? That's your choice, okay? What I'm going to do on this particular case is place you on deferred You do have to post $100 bond and then just not get any tickets filed for the next, I'm just set it for 30 days, for the next 30 days, and then we'll dismiss it after that. Now that bond is non-refundable. That's simply covering the court cost. It's not paying the fine. And then we can dismiss it. And that way it's not put on your record. When would you?
Okay. And how does this work? Do I have to go to jail?
No, ma'am. You're being placed on deferred. It's like a probation, but you don't have
Okay.
a probation officer. You just simply not get any more tickets filed of this kind in the court for the next month.
Okay. So I have to pay $100 by when?
That's my question to you.
Okay. I get paid actually this Thursday, so I can go ahead and pay that.
Okay. So what you will do is come into City Hall where you pay the water bills. You just tell
Yes, ma'am.
them to pay on a ticket and they'll process it and give you a receipt.
Okay.
You're just going to show a balance. You're not going to worry about that balance because when we dismiss the ticket, we'll remove that fine. The balance would be.
Okay. Okay. So I will be there Thursday and I'll pay that 100.
Okay. Now I'm going to send you some paperwork.
Yes, ma'am.
Fill it out and bring it back Thursday when you come in. Give it to the girls and they will give it to me.
Okay. Will I receive that in the mail or through the email, or how are you sending me that and how will I receive it?
I'm going to email you. You're
Okay.
gonna fill it out, sign it, and then bring it back. Do you
Okay. Do I have to go print them?
have a printer?
No, ma'am, I don't. I'm gonna see if.
So Thursday, when you come in, just come upstairs and see Mary and sign the papers before you go downstairs to pay. You won't
Okay.
come into court, but she can give you the papers and you can sign them right there in the hallway.
Okay. So instead, you're not gonna email them no more.
I can email them, and if you're able to print them, that's fine. But if you can't,
If not, go with Mary Thursday, sign and give the $100.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
okay. Do you have any other questions for me about
No,
this?
ma'am.
All right, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good day.